Welcome back to Trail Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Shimmons. This week, Ricki and I sit down with Rebecca Hormann. We've just recorded the interview. It's a cracker. We dig into Rebecca's history in running and soccer, winning some of the iconic races in the UK, Highland Way, moving on to Land of Giants in Portugal. Really fun conversation, and yeah, we'll roll out in a second. Before we get there, I need to announce a really cool new sponsorship. We have partnered up with Ascend app, which is the rebrand of the Albon app from John and Henrietta Albon. It's a training platform which I really like. Loads of the Trail Talk community already use the app. We have an exclusive 20% discount with the Trail Talk 20 discount. You'll find all of that in the link tree down below. There's also other discounts in there like Currans, the New Zealand Blackberry supplement, Smiles, Tantrums, best packs in the game, 15% off there, Trail Talk 15. But enough of that. Let's roll the brilliant interview with Rebecca and let us know what you think of it in the comments. Rebecca, welcome to the podcast. Great to have you on. And also great to have Ricki on the show as well. Our normal Instagram co-host has jumped into a fully fledged podcast. Ricki, I hope you're well. Rebecca, thanks for joining us.
I'm excited to be here. I haven't seen you guys in ages and heard the cool variety of Irish accents, so I'm excited.
Yeah, all the way from the north and all the way from the south. You can't beat it. You can't beat it.
Yeah, we're properly stretching the internet here at this point. Rebecca, let's kick the podcast off with like just some of the history, because I've kind of known you for, it feels like a good few years, but not like, have we ever met in person? I can't remember, but
I don't think we actually ever.
Like I first learnt of you whenever you moved to Northern Ireland, to Belfast, and you joined Barf, my old fell running club, and I probably only learnt of you at that point because you started to do really well in local races, and that's sort of like, yeah, that's kind of where I learnt of you. So let's set the scene. Tell us how, like, where you're from and what brought you to Belfast, because you're not there now. You've moved on. You're now in England. So
yeah,
fill in the gaps for us.
Right. Brief whistle stop tour, I guess. I'm American, Swiss American. I don't know what I sound like nowadays, but I moved to Spain when I was 18. I lived in Spain for a while, and then I was over in Asia for a while, just kind of bopping about, really. I didn't even run at the time. And then I ended up having to evacuate Asia because of COVID, which landed me over in Northern Ireland, of all places, because my best friend's from there. So I just sent her a text one morning. We had to get off the island I was living on, and they were just like, well, where do I go? So I messaged her and I was like, can I just come live with you for however long it's going to be? And she said yes. So I ended up in Northern Ireland for about 2.5 years, maybe. And that's really when I started running. So like my first like ultra and everything was technically it was in Ireland, but I really started training in Northern Ireland. And then I ended up moving over to England, and I've ended up kind of in Manchester now. So that's like a, super fast kind of tour of like bouncing around the world, really, and getting to where I am now, I guess.
Well, I mean, let's stop the whistle stop tour and dig in a little bit, because like, why were you moving around so much? I think, aren't you from PA?
Philly.
Yeah.
So I'm from Philly. I have like a really, I don't want to say really diverse, because in America everybody's quite diverse, but my mum is Swiss Chilean, so got like links in Switzerland, links in Chile. My dad's American, but we used to travel all around when we grew up. So we'd spend a lot of time in Chile, we'd spend a lot of time in Switzerland, and obviously in going to Europe, you'd spend a lot of time just traveling around. We'd do road trips around Europe, we'd do road trips around like Chile, Argentina, just all around there. So like traveling and moving around was quite normal for me growing up. I was homeschooled as well, so that's how we could just move around in that way. I wasn't skipping school. I did go to school. And so when I turned 18, I didn't I didn't want to be in the States. Like, I think I preferred the European lifestyle, in general. I always had. So I soccer was my sport at the time, as it is for many. And I got myself a scholarship over in Spain to play for a team over there. And it was supposed to be a year-long thing, basically, like go for the year, play with the team for the year, kind of take a gap year, so to speak, and then go back to the States. But after about 6 months, I remember just texting my mom and I was just like, I'm just gonna stay here. Like, I'm all right. I'm not gonna go back home. Like, there's nothing there for me. I'll just crack on here. Um, and I'm very blessed to have a Swiss passport, so I could just do that. So there's no visa issues or anything. My life basically hinges on the fact that I have this Swiss passport right now. So I stayed in Spain for quite a while, studied over there, played soccer, and then one day I just decided if I don't do anything now, if I don't change things up, I'm just going to live a really nice, comfortable, lovely life in the south of Spain. I was living in Granada at the time, which is just a beautiful place to be. So I bought a one-way flight to Indonesia, and just figured it out, basically, which was traumatizing and fun all at the same time. So that's kind of like how I ended up out of America. And I don't really know if I ever intended on going back, but I intended on staying in Asia quite a bit longer, but COVID didn't really allow that. And I always used to say that I was never going to live in the UK. I was just like, I'm not going to do it. And then obviously here I am years later. But I was like very critical. I was like, I don't want to live there. I don't like the culture. And then I just kind of ended up over here.
Pie. Loving it.
There are some things that I will not like. I just can't get into about it. But I mean, I'm still here, so I must enjoy it somehow.
And whenever you then moved to Belfast around the pandemic, how did you go from you moved from Asia to Belfast and then you just got into running? Like, how did the soccer stop and the
Hmm.
running start?
Yeah. Yeah. When I was in Spain, I used to play 11-a-side. I kind of drifted into playing five-a-side because I liked it was different because we didn't like you would train five-a-side in the States, like indoor five-a-side, but you wouldn't really compete in it. And so in Spain, it's quite big. It's football sala, which is quite big. And I kind of shifted over to that. And I had like a really lovely team. They were my family, and we would just, we would do everything together. Um, and then when I left and I went over to Asia, that's when I kind of started running a bit. I signed up for a half marathon. So my first half was in Thailand, in Bangkok. And it was ridiculously humid. But when I went to Northern Ireland, when I moved over there, I tried to get back into playing soccer, uh, but it just wasn't the same. And I kind of just it felt like I couldn't replace what I'd had in Spain. And it was a tricky time anyway, because it was during COVID, and it was some teams were allowed to train, others weren't, and everybody was a bit on edge. And obviously I was new, I was foreign, so I was a bit of like, whoa, like, who's this? And I just wasn't having fun. So I stopped there, and I was kind of like, well, I've had a really amazing time, but I don't think I'll find what I had. So there's no point in trying to replace it. So that's when I kind of started running a bit more, really, I guess, because it was what else could I do really at that time? So yeah.
Let me jump in there on the soccer thing, right? Because I'm interested in that. Because like before I got into running, I was all about Gaelic football and
Yeah.
soccer and stuff like that. But what level were you playing at, right? And then did you see yourself being like when you were in Spain and you got sent over to Spain on a scholarship? Did you see that like as an opportunity to maybe like take it further and make a career out of soccer, or was it more like a hobby, or was it like maybe I could make it in this game?
I think I was always like I was on the better side, like, growing up. I took it really seriously, and I, like as a lot of people, I wanted to play pro. Like, that's what
Mm.
I thought I wanted. Um, and I think I was very much because I played on some really good teams. I played for a semi-pro team in the States for a little while. And we Like, we went up a couple divisions when I was playing in Spain so long ago, I don't even remember exactly. But I was probably on, like, the better side of just being average, but I would have had to really, really, like, commit a lot to it if I wanted to actually get there. But I don't know. It just wasn't meant to be, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool though. It's cool. It's cool. And then, like, did you see then, we'll say, all right, this is, I know, because then you went to Indonesia, right? But like, I always
Yeah.
wonder then, like, when you're finished playing football, right? A lot of people will tell you, like, I don't know what age you were, right? But let's say you were like in your mid 20s or something, and maybe that was it. Maybe football was over for you. And so many people think that, oh, well, that's it. They're finished now doing that. So they'll retire now and they might take up knitting or something, you know. But their sport, but their
Is that what you
sports
did, Ricki?
career, yeah, but it's like people hit a certain people hit a certain age and they want to tell you, oh well, like I quit when I was this age, so you're probably going to quit too. But like I was a no, I'm not
Yeah.
going to quit. Like I'm going to find running or I'm going to find something else, and I'm
Yeah.
going to, like, because it's not a team sport anymore. It's a solo sport. Then it's like I'm going to go all in on this now.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, because with soccer, you age out of it almost. Like, that's
Mm.
just it's just part of the sport a lot of the time. Like, I'm not too involved in it now, but back when I was playing and that was my world, it was you age out of it after a certain point. Your body can't handle it, and that's it. You know what I mean? And then you crack on, and then you might move on to running, like you're saying. I don't. I have tried to go back to soccer like a couple times since then, and I probably could have, but I think I just lost the love for it. Um, which what's the point? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, if I'm not having fun, especially with a game like that where you're surrounded by a team, you really have to enjoy who you're with, and you have to get on with them and mesh with them and understand the people, and to get that you have to spend so much time together, and if you're not playing at a high level and have the ability to spend that time with them. If everybody's working full-time jobs and like you're only showing up to practice a couple times a week, you're not going to build that bond. And it's either, I think, it's all in or it's nothing.
yeah, yeah. And isn't it true? Like, would say on the flip side of it, me like quitting football, and I was obsessed, and loved
Yeah.
being part of a team. Right, loved it. But then when
Yeah.
I did start doing my own thing, what I loved about that was the freedom I had. I could train when I
Yeah.
wanted to train. I wasn't tied to a time. When you're with a club or a team, you're tied to a time. It's like training's at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday. So no matter what you're doing, it's at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday, you know, and you have to wait the whole day. And the same with like
Yeah.
training at the weekends. It's like you have to plan your whole day around that. Whereas when you're running, you can kind of plan how you want the day to go. If you want to run early, you want to run late. If life gets in the way, you can always adapt. Like, and that's the thing I would find very hard to give up if I had to go back into like a team sport.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because like, if you miss a session in the morning, you can probably just like move it around or change things around. But and I think that's why I struggle with like running clubs, because I'm just like, I can't I can't work on someone else's schedule anymore. I'm like, I'm not gonna wait around till 7:30 to go on a whatever they're running. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
There's too much
Yeah, I have
waiting
to go to
around.
bed. I have to go to bed.
I feel like a kid, when you're a kid and like you've got like swim practice at this time and you're sat there at the door waiting for your friend's mum to pick you up to carpool. I feel like that again. Do you know what I mean? Like waiting, watching the clock. No,
Yeah, yeah,
I can't
yeah.
do it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, the clubs thing only works for me as a social thing and as a second run.
Mm.
Like, do what you're meant to do on your time scale, and then go out in the evening, and it's a way to get some extra miles in
Yeah.
and socialize with other runners. So yeah, I totally can identify and relate to that. Like, before we close off in the football thing, soccer, sorry. What were your
Thank
strengths
you.
then? Like, were you able to see, I'm faster than others, or I'm more agile, or I'm able to like have better endurance? Like, were you starting to like hone in on what you were good at athletically during that period?
I was stronger than others. You weren't going to box me out. It wasn't going to happen. And I had a good eye for the field, especially on five-a-side. I just had a good vision of and feel of where everybody was, especially. But you weren't boxing me out, and you weren't beating me to the ball normally.
Right. And then whenever you came to Belfast and started running, how did you learn of BARF? And for the viewers, that's Belfast Association of Rock Climbers and Fell Runners. But the joke and the abbreviation is on purpose as well. So how did you join BARF, get into mountain running, and then what was the mindset that then made you progress on to running ultra?
Actually, now that you asked, I have no idea how I joined BARF. Um, I It must have been a Google. Do you know what I mean? It must have been a, Belfast running clubs and kind of like half trail, half road, because BARF does a mixture of things, obviously. And I don't really know any of the other running clubs around Belfast. I never tried anybody else. There must be loads. There are loads, but I'm sure there's a lot more road running clubs. But yeah, I don't know when I joined, so I wouldn't really know the time frame on it, but I did my first marathon by myself, around Belfast, just like up and down here and there around the Titanic Museum and stuff like that. And then I ran my first 50K up the coastline from where I lived. I think it was not too far from Queen's campus. Um, and then I did my first 50K over in England. And somewhere along there, I joined BARF, and I didn't really show up to many trainings. But I remember when I ran Eco Trail Wicklow, I think it was 2021 that I ran the 80K. One of the guys gave me a ride back. And then I think I grew more aware of like the club presence in Belfast. So I must have joined after Eco Trail Wicklow.
You
Yeah,
might
but I didn't know it.
but they definitely took ownership of you. They definitely took ownership of you because you were very
Why
quick
would you
on the
not?
scene. Yeah, but like you were so quick on the scene and you were winning races like from very early on, and it was like, who's this girl?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because like that's when I got to know you. Like I know you before I know Aaron, right? And like my history of
No
you,
way.
yeah, like my history of you is like, who's this girl? And she's winning everything. You know what I mean? Like it was your impact was huge, very, very fast. And like, sure, that was it. Me and you ended up running in the moors together. I asked what we
Yeah.
up to. You know what I mean? We spent a weekend doing we did two big, big days. I'll never forget them
Yeah,
days.
well,
I
you were
can't
all the
even.
way out
He always
gone. It
is.
was like me
He
and your
always
brother
is.
like, "Okay, bye."
But like I'll never forget that. Like that was like I remember telling my brother, like, and my brother was with us as well. Like, and when me and Alan, we were staying in the camper van, and I was saying, this girl is going to be class. Like, you know what I mean? And you were like brand new to this, but I was like, this
I
girl's
knew
going to be
nothing.
class. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I was
Yeah, I
right.
knew
I was
nothing.
right. Uh,
I had no business running around the Morans, to be honest with you. Absolutely no business. Like, we were going up Donard and you were gone, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what have I signed up for? Like, what does he think I can actually run? Like, I've ran 80K. Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. Genuinely, absolutely clueless. No, just like I remember going to Eco Trail Wicklow, and I didn't know anybody, but everybody knew everybody, and like,
yeah.
yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, because everybody knows that Ricki Wynn is crap at nav, right? I'm
That's what
really,
I
really
was
bad.
thinking.
Yeah, really, really bad. And I'm showing these two around the Mourns and I haven't a clue where I'm going. But I have the route. I have the route in my watch, right? So I don't need
Yeah.
to know where I'm going. And I remember stopping with you and Alan 4 or 5 times. 4 or 5 times. And you were checking maps and checking this and checking that. And I had my hands on my hips. Yeah. And so was my brother. My brother was really anal about it. And I was like, oh, look, lads, I don't know where we're going, but all I know is I have the route in my watch. So come on, let's go, And that was it. Like, that was my attitude then, and my attitude hasn't changed either. Like, so you definitely didn't learn anything from me that weekend.
Not much
I'm
has
just like
changed
that
there,
now. I'm like,
Ricky.
I've got a watch.
Like, but you've
Whatever,
moved
ages
on
ago.
to running big races, big distances. So what is it in you that has kind of drawn you more into ultra and pushing those limits? Because like it's something that it tends to attract people that maybe gravitate to the extremes. Is that how you feel you are personally?
No, I can't put like a logical finger on like the choices that I make and the races that I choose to run. I think the change in I think I will be more calculated starting from now. I think basically everything up till now has been, oh, that looks good. Let's give it a go. That looks cool. Let's give it a go. Oh, should we do 300 milers in 7 weeks? Yeah, let's see what we can do. Like spine race? Yeah, okay, cool. Like it's all just been, right, let's see if we can do it. There's not been like a thoughtful, this plays to my strengths, or this looks like a really fun challenge. I always run races that excite me and scare me, but like I won't run a race if I look at it and I go, that looks really boring. There's no point in running it. But I don't think there's been much logic behind any of the choices that I have made, like other than like probably starting from this year and the race that I started my year with. I think people tend to think I'm more experienced than I am. I'm not very experienced. So people think
You're
there's a
among
lot
friends
more.
here. We know. We
He's
know.
like it.
But I think that experience, like the suppose, look, I knew you then, right? And then you moved over to the UK, and I haven't, you know what I mean? We haven't seen each other in person since. And then you like rapidly became very, very good in this sport. And to me, I'd be looking at you on Strava, and in my brain, it's telling me that you're full of experience and you have years behind you, when I really know that you don't. But it's just because
Yeah.
I've seen the races you've done and the amount of races you've done, and the position you finished up in most of those races is always number one. So, a blind man can see that you're very good, but a blind man would also think that you're very experienced when you're not. You're still actually new enough to the sport. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I suppose what I'm trying to say is you look like somebody that's just having fun running. Like that's what it looks like. It looks like you're really enjoying it, And then I always wanted to ask you, like, where do you see yourself like going? You know what I mean? With this, like, as in, do you want something more out of it? Like, because I always be thinking, like, this girl is definitely like pro material. She's got to get a contract. She's got to get this. She's got to get that. Like, was that part of your plan when you were like signing up for any of these races, or was it just, no, I'm doing it because it's good crack?
I'm so flattered by everything you've just said, honestly. Like, keep talking. No, I'm kidding. No, like, I mean, that obviously brings out the whole thing of like how the trail running world has changed over the past 4 or 5 years since I've joined it, because it's changed drastically. And I think I caught the back end of what it used to be, and I've seen a lot of change. But so things like ambassadorships, contracts, etc., they're a lot more common nowadays, and the different types of levels of contracts, whether it's like being like part of a club or a pro, or an ambassador. I think it was always one of those things where I was like, oh, that would be really cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, to be backed by someone, because it is a sense of like validation of like, you can, it's saying, you're not bad. Like you can move, you can run. It doesn't mean you're winning everything, but you're pretty good. Nowadays, I think it means a little bit less, because everybody has, like, a lot of people have some sort of social media link or contract or something like that. But the position I am in now, I think that it's like a slight kind of like, maybe one day that could be a possibility to have some sort of contract, which allows me to run more than I do now and kind of step back from other things and really, really, really prioritize that. So that there's like a sliver of me that I think is like, that would be really cool. But I also think that I have a lot of work to do if that is ever going to be an option for me, because as you guys both know, running it's consistency over a lot of time. And especially when you're running ultras, I mean, some people can, but if you want any longevity in the sport, you can't race 100 miles every single month. Like it's just stupid after a while. So you can't speed these things up. So I know that if that like slight thought in my head is ever going to come to fruition, I just have to be consistent with what I'm doing now and show up at bigger races, which will
Yeah.
ultimately mean that's kind of what the next year plus is going to be about. Like, I'll show up at bigger races. I'm not going to podium on them. I may not even go top 10 on them, but I'm showing up and I'm gaining the experience. Because right now, the races that I have ran, while big in some senses, they're actually quite small in the bigger picture. So while I've ranked well at them, maybe they're not populated enough. And times speak for themselves. Absolutely, they do. But I need to put myself out there in a more competitive field to even see if that's even a possibility in the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I would say, like, Ricki and I were chatting about this the other day, and for a period up until quite recently, it felt like you'd kind of spread the net wide and you were doing a lot of races that maybe were just interesting, or I'll give that a go, whether it be a half trail marathon, a backyard ultra, 100 miler, whatever. You were just like, I'm going to do this. And the results were always great. But as you say, like, the times speak for themselves, and a lot of the races that you've done more recently, the times have been great, setting course records. Even, like, maybe we could dig in a little bit on your West Highland Way race where you beat the defending two-time champion, who's a Scottish international 100K runner. So, like, you've got all of this experience from trying all these different things. So have you kind of gone down the funnel and figured out, this is what I love and this is what I'm gonna, like, direct my attention to?
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. I've definitely kind of figured out where my strengths lie a bit more, and what I enjoy more, and that is running longer, like 100 plus distances. Wow, I mean, I don't have that. I've got experience now in the 100-mile distance, but past that, I'm still gaining experience, and I've really only ran past that on a number of occasions outside of backyard ultras. But I do think that that's kind of where I've really started to enjoy myself quite a bit more. And you get a lot of fun things that you're just never gonna, like the only way to get there is to go that far. Just a lot of challenges and just like hallucinations I absolutely love to death, but you're never gonna get it unless, you go that far. I do enjoy like the shorter stuff here and there, but I just don't get as much out of it as I do the long stuff. Um, so I think that's kind of what I've learned about myself, and especially with all the races I ran last year, it was, yeah, it was just fun. Like I was just having fun going that far. So I'll hopefully be doing more stuff like that down the line. But like I said, you can't do as many of those types of races.
Yeah,
Does that
like that, that is the one thing. Like you have to be like when you're doing milers and then you're doing them now that you've gained experience and now that like you want to, let's say, see how far you can go in the sport. Now is the time where you have to like really hone in on your niche, on what you think you're good at, and then like really get specific with what races you choose so you can have a big day. But then that also puts pressure on you, and sometimes it can take a little bit of the fun out of racing as well
Yeah.
because it's added pressure as well. Like, and how do you feel about that? Like,
Yeah. So tricky. It's so tricky because like you want to be having fun. Like the point at the end of the day is let's have fun doing this. Like let's enjoy it. But you want to do well, so you have to put the work in. And you're right, like sometimes the wanting to do well takes away, and then I'm really good at putting loads and loads of pressure on myself. So it is always like juggling that around, and I do really struggle with it. And sometimes I just have to like take a step back and just remind myself, like, at the end of the day, I have to enjoy this. Like, because no matter what happens, if it goes somewhere, if it doesn't go anywhere, if I'm not enjoying it, like, why am I doing it? But I do really, really, really struggle with that one, especially like going forward now, carrying the wins that I have. I apply that pressure a lot more on myself. So, like I was saying before, going forward, going to more competitive races, I know that I won't be placing where I'm used to placing. So I have to completely revamp my perspective on it and change my perspective of what success is and measure that in different ways, it's a good challenge. It really is, but it's going to be a bit interesting.
but I think that shows also, like, a conscious recognition of where ego is in the sport and how it's kind of not helpful as well. Like, are we saying that you're done with the backyard ultras? Because you've had success there as you would, but it's also doesn't really marry very well with trying to build a
No.
season around, you know, 100-miler or a 200-miler.
Yeah. Oh God, backyard ultras. Honestly, someone tell me what to do because like I don't know what to do because I don't know. I think about a backyard ultra and I think, ugh, like it just tedious, boring. But then again, sometimes I say the same things about the 100-milers. But then part of me is kind of like, no, it's good, it's fun, there's so much to learn, like, there's so much I can learn from a backyard, and I always tell people they should run a backyard because you're never gonna get that good at getting in, getting out, at sorting your kit, at managing yourself, like, in any other situation because you're on a clock. It's so good just to have that skill. So, I don't know, and I've got this, like, world champs potential option looming, you know, do I do I wanna run it in a backyard to make sure my name's on that list? Do I just leave it and leave it to chance? I don't know, but you're right, it doesn't marry well with, like, the things that I'm looking at, because a lot of the stuff I'm looking at now is a lot of climbing, it's a lot of vertical gain. It doesn't they don't make sense together at all.
You say that, but didn't you run like 230K at a backyard 3 weeks before you won the West Highland Way race?
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
seem to be incredibly durable.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened at any of that. It all just seems like a complete I don't know what the hell happened. But yeah, absolutely. And that backyard actually did have quite a bit more elevation than most backyards do. But I leave that to good recovery and maybe a bit of luck. Yeah, a bit of stupidity as well.
Stupidity is always useful, I think, strategically. Do you find, like, one thing I would say, there's lots of differences between Ricki and I, but one thing that I see with being close to him at several times in training and things is he can just absorb it and you get up the next day like it didn't even happen the day before. Whereas I just feel like my recovery is a lot slower than his. It's one of his superpowers. And I think that's actually a quality that a lot of great runners have, is just their ability to recover. Do you see that in yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think I saw that about myself, especially last year, because I did Whitaker Backyard, which is about 150 I speak miles. And then what, 3 weeks later was West Highland Way. And then or 3 weeks later, or 4 weeks later or something was another 100-miler. So absolutely, like I had to recover if I was gonna compete at those, which I did. So clearly there is some ability to recover fast. I'm not saying I felt great at the at those start lines, but somewhere along the line, the fitness pulled through. So yeah, absolutely. I think you're right, especially like with athletes like Ricki as well. Like you have to be able to like process it and adapt to it quickly if you're going to get all that training load in. So um,
But
I'd
I
say so. I
think
don't
I
know how
think
much of that is age.
but I think you'd blow the doors off it, because I do look at your training on Strava after your races and I'm like going, how is she outrunning 30K on Saturday and another 30K on the Sunday, and she only did that race like a week and a half ago? I can't get my head around how you're
You
able to
do the
do it.
same
Like,
thing.
I promise you I don't. I don't. I just think that you're even a little bit more special, I think, you know what I mean? In the head, I mean, like, you know, as in, I just see you doing some ridiculous things in training and racing, and I just think, man, she can just go and go and go, and you're so strong. And you obviously have to be feeling good to be able to do that. Like, so you have some
Hmm.
serious recovery tools, like.
Yeah, but yes, but I'm also very wary of doing too much of that now because I don't want to burn myself out.
Yeah.
And I don't. And I do genuinely want to be able to, I want to be a Nikki Spinks who can be, competing,
Yeah.
years and years down the line. And I'm not going to do that if I'm overdoing it now and over racing and overtraining, which is a really easy mistake to make for somebody who's at my stage and my age, because we just think we're invincible, don't we? I think I'm invincible most of the time. So yeah, you're right, but it is also something that I'm consciously like pulling back on and just approaching a bit more wisely now,
Yeah,
I think.
I'm very, very happy to hear that, because I think me and Aaron have had this conversation about you before. Like, just we'd be just talking shit or whatever, and we'd be saying, I wonder,
Thanks.
I wonder where your head's at. Are you in the sport like just for something quick, as in a couple of years, and do loads of races and enter everything and try and win everything and then be gone, you know? Because that's kind of like when I see you doing so much volume and so much
Yeah.
racing, I'd be thinking, man, she's going to burn out. Like, so to hear you say that,
Yeah.
like, I'm really happy to hear that you actually are looking at this long term, like, you know, and I think that's very, very smart. Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Moving on to this year, you opened it up with Terra de Gigante. I think I've got it right.
You could just say it. You can just translate it to the land of giants. That's what I kept on doing because I
That's
don't speak
better. That's
Portuguese.
That
even
is better,
better.
yeah. 302 kilometers across Portugal. You absolutely smashed it. Third overall, massive course record. What made you pick that race? And let's talk about the race itself as well. Had to be like it was very difficult conditions as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I absolutely loved it. Like when people ask me about it, my first thing is it was just fun. Like I had so much fun. Like compare it to previous year Spine Challenger North, which I did not have fun. It was just suffering. I had so much fun in Portugal. I ran it because I wanted a January race. I wanted a winter race. Probably something a bit like softer than a spine race. Which thank goodness, because I saw the conditions this year on the spine and I was just like, oh, I would absolutely not like, no, I don't like snow. Um, at all, and it would be my worst nightmare just like trudging through it. So I was looking for a January race and I ran into, is it Ian Keith or
Yeah,
Owen?
Ian
Yeah.
Keith.
I ran into his blog about when he had ran it previously because I think he's ran it 2-3 times now, and I had a look and I thought this looks really cool. I love Portugal. I've always been a fan of Portugal. I've always wanted to do some sort of like country crossing, and it's not a complete country crossing, but it's very, very close to it. And there is actually another route that goes from, so Land of Giants is east to west. There is actually a route that goes north to south, that I had been looking at just doing for the fun of it. And they actually do a race, a stage race. I think it's called 281. So that's the other kind of Portugal crossing. But I saw it and I was like, this just it looks like right up my alley. Definitely something I want to be doing. It's like majority is a net loss in terms of elevation, which I wasn't thrilled about necessarily, but if you look if you look at the elevation map, it makes it look like you get the mountains all out the way by like the first 100 miles, and then it's flat. It's not flat after that, but it looks that way. But yeah, no, everything about it was very much like, this looks like it would be good fun. I was a bit tentative about like the conditions because one year they had like loads of snow up at the top, and one year it was like sunshine, so I had no idea what that was going to be. No, it was just, and it was an excuse to go over to Portugal. So it just looked like a good one. And I think I signed up for it, God, almost probably a good 10 months, maybe 9-10 months in advance. So it was in the books for ages beforehand.
And it was like you didn't want to run the spine with the bad weather and the bogs, but like this race was cold. I'm guessing no bogs. It looked like there was quite a bit of road running in it as well. What was the course itself like?
So yeah, there is quite a bit of road. I wouldn't be able to tell you like the percentages of like how much road versus trail and stuff, but you're always hopping on the road. So like the first 10K is just road. And then you do climb quite a bit. You do get into the hills, but after a while, it just feels like you're kind of climbing on the trail for a while, and then you hop onto the road. You follow the road into a village. You go through the village, and then you hop back on the trail, and it just repeats that pattern over and over again. But all of the trail is very much like hard packed, a bit like stony, branchy, like movable, runnable stuff. There wasn't really much bog at all, maybe just a bit of overflow with water because it did rain a lot, especially at night. There were a couple of nasty climbs, but they were in the middle of the night, so I probably didn't even realize how nasty they were. Yeah, in general, it is quite a you can move on the course pretty well, or you should be able to.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your social media. There was a few things coming in on Instagram, and it was just such a good way to view a race that long. And you're transitioning from day to night, right? But you're all
Yeah.
transitioning from like your emotions and how you're feeling. And it was like there was some big highs, and you come into an aid station with a big smile on your face. The next aid station, oh man, she looks like she's going to drop. The next aid station, you're laughing, you're high fiving, you're singing. The next aid station, oh, she's definitely going to drop. The next aid station, you know what I mean? And it's such a roller coaster, and like it really epitomized what 100k
Yeah.
ultra is all about. Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are so tricky because like you never know what's going to happen in these races. And so like when people like with social media especially, like, do you want things on socials? Because what happens if you pull out and then it's on there for the world to see, and then you know what I mean? But it was so nice that it got like documented because I saw them afterwards, and like I looked back at it afterwards and I was like, I can't, like, it's not me that did that, but then those videos bring back like the emotions. And but yeah, no, it's so funny because I get really like, I don't want to say negative, but a bit like sassy, like negative comments when I'm like running ultras. I don't mean it in a bad way, but it's like a coping mechanism if I'm suffering a little bit. So some of those stuff were caught on camera. But no, I love the little reels that my mates made. It was really nice.
When following the tracker, we posted it up in the Trail Talk WhatsApp community,
Oh,
and we're following the tracker, and like Robbie Britt went off fast at the start as I was expecting him to, and then he seemed to like die a death at one point, and I was like putting in commentary chat into it, like you'd closed like 8k in a certain amount. It just kept getting closer and closer, and I thought you were gonna get him by the end, but he shuffled his way through. How in tune with where you were in the overall rankings were you? Because like you course record by 9 hours or something. There was a huge DNF rate. Like, did you feel like you were hunting? Did you feel like you were chasing down the next person?
my policy going into the race, so I had crew there with me. My policy was I did not want to know anything. I wanted to run the race my way, my approach. Um, and I had a plan, and I wanted to finish. Because when these races are so long, you just don't know. And if you I mean, sometimes you have to like dance with the devil a little bit if you want to do something amazing. But I wasn't gonna push hard and then, hope that it worked out. I had a very like level-headed, reasonable I changed my socks at every single aid station type of plan. Do you know what I mean? Which Dave Phillips didn't do that. But you know what I mean? I was very much like, this is it. We are doing this. It doesn't matter where we're at, doesn't matter the time. This is how we're approaching it because I want to finish this race. I wanted to finish it in under 60 hours, which to me sounded perfectly reasonable. 60 hours. Clearly, it was a lot faster than that. Um, I've completely forgotten your question now.
The hunting down, like you kept
Yes,
moving up
yeah,
the field. You were nearly like you were so close to finishing
yeah.
second overall.
Yeah. So I I was only really made aware of where I was. I had ideas because I was getting a lot of attention at the aid stations, but I chose to ignore it. But I had no idea where I was in terms of like the overall ranking. I only kind of figured it out when I was catching a couple of the other guys. So like it was like the third guy and the fourth guy. I remember walking by one of them and I was just really confused by it. And then I was told kind of where I was. When I got to the second to last aid station, I was told that Robbie had taken a nap there for like an hour and a half or something like that. Like I think that's kind of I think that's kind of where he just like it was just done, like, because I know he was, like, cruising and then it was just, like, splat, but I was told he had taken a nap there, so I took a 10-minute nap because I really needed to sleep. for just a tiny little bit. But I didn't feel like I was chasing because it's Robbie Britain. Like, what are you on about? Do you know what I mean? Like, he'll pick up, he'll crack on, he'll get a second wind. So I just kept on going at my pace, and I was actually feeling really bad at that checkpoint. Like, I was trying to get food down and it just wasn't staying. So I walked out that checkpoint and I was like, go at climbing, but taking layers off and like literally just trying to make myself throw up, like sticking my fingers down my throat because I was just like, I just need a complete reset, which don't recommend it. Don't do that. Not good, bad. And so when I got to the last checkpoint, I was feeling good, but I couldn't eat anything. And they told me that Robbie had left 30 minutes before me and that he had also taken a nap at that checkpoint. So I was like, he's definitely not feeling very good. But I was hours ahead of any goal that I had. So it was like a logic conversation, and as I said, I was approaching the race really logically. It was, do I, get up and go and chase, or do I sit here, get some actual food in me? I've still got 20 miles to go. It's not going to be fast. And then I started throwing up, and I was like, my choice is kind of made for me. I need to get everything out and get something in before I go. But I wasn't in a hurry because at that point, the math was basically, even if I stayed there for an hour, I would still have 6 hours to run the 20 miles and still run, I think, a sub 48 or something, which was not even a possibility. It hadn't even been an option in my mind. I don't think I realized how close I was to Robbie until later on, because people sent me like screenshots of the tracker, and there was a point where I was 2 miles behind him, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
I didn't
And you
know.
closed it from like 12, 13 at one point and just kept getting
Yeah.
closer and closer.
Yeah,
But
I had
that's
no idea.
but that's like, you don't know what you don't know, right? Like that's not in your head. It's not in your head. And like for some people to be talking to that or thinking about, oh, if you just pushed a little bit harder. You're after running for 48 hours. There's nothing left to give. There is nothing left to
Yeah.
give. And you're not, it's like if the race, if you let's say you closed it to within like a mile of him, or to within 500 meters of him, and someone then says, turn around and they'd say, oh, if only that race was another 500 meters longer. It's long enough. It's long enough. The
Yeah.
race is what it is. You know what I mean? You did
Yeah.
incredible, like, and you pushed your body to an extortionate limit, like, and sometimes that is it. And I'm sure you walked away from that like 10 out of 10, massive smile on your face, incredible winning in life result, like.
It was more than I like hoped for it to be. Yeah. And it was so cool to like be there with like Dave Phillips and Robbie Britton, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, and I'm like up there like on the podium, and it was so neat. But you're right, like I think people it's so easy when you're looking at trackers, and we do this all the time. We look at trackers and we're like, oh, like, you gotta go, you gotta move. But like, after you've done 100 miles, 150 miles, it's kind of like, I am giving what I've got, and this is what I've got right now, and I can't give any more right
Yeah.
now. Or at least, you are genuinely, if you're honest with yourself and you're really giving what you can, that's all you can do. Like, racing is difficult at that point. I felt like I was moving. I thought I was being chased, actually. I thought there was a headlamp behind me.
That was hallucination.
There wasn't.
That was a street
There
light.
wasn't. Not for hours, there wasn't. But but it's so, like, I had no regrets. I was like, I had no issues with the fact that I didn't try, and I don't know if I could chase him, but I was more than happy with the result, I'd say.
Yeah, like, especially when your goal was like nearly 20 hours quicker or slower than that, and you would
Slower.
you probably would have been content and happy with that if that's how it went. And like, you know what I mean, 20 hours, come on, it's incredible.
Yeah. God, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy though, because I saw people at the award ceremony the next day, and they had literally finished on the Sunday morning, and they were walking around like zombies. And I was like, oh, like, I've had a nice nap and a sleep.
Like, with that time and that result, you clearly like knocked it out of the park. So what does it tell you about, what did you learn from going so much faster than planned or predicted or estimated. Given that you like went through the race methodically with like the change in the socks and going through the processes, and at a big race, early season race, long distance, part of the tour series as well. So like, what did you learn from it that is going to shape this year?
That is a difficult question.
Take your time.
Even like such a smug smile. You're like, yeah, it is. What have I learned from that race? I I think that there are some things that you aren't going to get good at without doing, but I think some people have a knack for them more than others. So things like sleep deprivation and kind of reaching through that and understanding how to stay moving and locked in mentally as opposed to giving in to that need to sleep. I think I've learned that I'm not as bad at that as I may have thought I was. Just a bit more, I've just gained a bit more confidence in my approach to those types of races and what works for me, in terms of just doing it the way I know, uh, doing the things that I need to do. One of the things that was a huge focus for me and has been for a while now is nutrition. I am not the best at eating on the go, but I did really, really well at that race, until I couldn't get things down. But just the relevance of it, the importance of it, especially on the long, long stuff, because you feel like you need to move, but if you're not consuming enough, you're not going to be moving for much longer. And just I was challenging myself a lot to embrace suffering a little bit. When you think you can't run, a lot of time you still can run. And overcoming that mental block of, this hurts, I'm too tired, but then being like, no, 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 we're going to do it anyway, and realizing you can do it. So I think I just learned a lot more what I can do that my mind was telling me that I couldn't do. Yeah. So I think all good things to know about myself. Although by the time I run another one of these, I'll probably have forgotten all of that and lost all faith in myself. Yes, Ricki.
The one thing you didn't say is what I liked about it was your approach leading into that race was you're going to run this race the way you want to run this race, right? And
Hmm.
I think that's a huge thing, right? Like if you can bring that into all your races, right, where you just worry about your race and you don't worry about what anyone else is doing. And I know everybody says this, but they don't actually do
Hmm.
it. They say, "Oh, I'm going to run
Yeah.
my own race," and then they got caught up with the lead group and they go out with the lead group and they have a
Yeah.
shit show. And that happens a lot. That happens especially on the pro side of things. That happens all the time. They just get caught up. Whereas I hope that you learned that you did what you said you were going to do and it worked really well, and that
Hmm.
I think that, like, if you can take the confidence you get from doing something like that into the next race and the next one after that and the next one after that, that it's more like about trusting in yourself and how you think you should do something rather than how everyone else is doing it, and then you back yourself because look, like, we're all very humble, right? And we're all very humble when we're talking to other people, and we don't want to say we're great or anything like that because we sound like dicks. But you have to believe that you're not just an okay runner, hey. And going forward, you bring that humble side into it, that self-belief, race execution, and you will find yourself on the podium in very big races.
What's up with him? He's so nice today. Like, just,
He's always nice.
just bigging me up. No, but it's I don't know if you guys have heard. It's a bit corny, it's a bit cheesy, but I had a bit of a motto last year. It was my race, my pace, that I kind of carried around with me, and I still do. And it really started at backyards because I ran that backyard last year, Whitaker backyard. All my splits were within 2 minutes of each other, which is that was my way of running it. It didn't matter if people were walking by me, running by me, whatnot. That was my way of doing it, and I stuck with it, and it worked. And I found that I could do that, and I took that into West Highland Way as well, because I knew that was going to be a bit of a competitive race. but I just ran it my way with, whether that was going to have me finishing first or last, it was my way of running it. So yeah, it is something that I'm like, I need to have enough confidence in my experience that is growing. Um, that even if wherever it lands me, I've done it my way, the way I know is right for me. So yes, Ricki, I will try my best.
Do good, good, good. Love it.
Well, like whenever you're finding out through just hard earned experience that your way is good enough, it's all just like you're just like building the bank of experience, which is invaluable. So it sets you up for like great things ahead. This, I think, I think the Gigantes was a qualifier for Tour de Gigantes, and
Mhm.
also it was your first race with a Kailas FUGA support. So, talk a bit about Kailas FUGA and your ambitions and plans for this season.
Yeah, I can't reveal all of my ambitions and plans for this season. There's one that's quite a big secret that I'm working on, but we'll get there. But anyway, so yeah, for Kailis,
Good teaser.
Ricki's like, "Ah, damn it."
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
us after.
Watch this space. So for Kailis, I signed on with them in November. So I'm part of like the mountain club team, which is really, really good. They're just really great, honestly. They're so supportive and just they've opened so many opportunities and getting round like it's quite a respected brand to be repping. Yeah.
Irish colours.
Oh my gosh. That's so true. Yeah. Have you got a pair of pros there?
Yes, but in the blue.
I'm a big fan of that shoe. Honestly, it's such a great shoe. Um, I ran Lana Giants in 330s. And I still use the same shoes nowadays. But yeah, so I've signed on with them. That was kind of my first race with them. And no, the support has been really great. So I am really excited going forward, just like the opportunities that are now open to me. Not that I couldn't open my own opportunities before, but it just making things quite a bit easier and just having that support. And they're open to having conversations about what I want to do and what works for me. Which is really, really fantastic. So I'm actually really excited going forward with them. And hopefully for a bit of longevity with them as well. So yes. So thank you. And yeah, this season, so oh gosh. So basically this season is me going, what are my weaknesses? Let me go run races that address them. Um, which is a recipe for disaster and growth. A lot of failing, hopefully some succeeding. So next is Madeira. So I will be over in Madeira in April for the long one, which will inevitably be extremely difficult. I'm petrified. I'm normally petrified before races, but I am very scared. It obviously will be quite a competitive field, which doesn't matter at all because I'm running my race.
Your
But
race,
that's
your
kind of the
pace.
next one. Exactly. Exactly. So right now there's a lot of training going in for that. And then I'm working on kind of a big project round here, kind of around where I live, which hopefully will kind of take place near like September time, which is taking a lot of my time to kind of prep for and whatnot. Um, there's a lot of races that I've kind of got like as maybes and potentials, but everything's a bit still up in the air. But I have ideas, and most of them are just like a lot of climbing and a lot of tough descents. So what I class as a weakness for me is I can climb, but my descending is not that good. So what better way to get good at things that you're bad at than do them over and over and over again? So Madeira is next.
Great. Well, the Fuga shoes have good grip, and I think you'll need that for Madeira because it's probably going to be
Gotcha.
wet, and also I hear the steps are slippy as well, so
Yeah.
could
Yeah,
be
I'll be
useful.
falling a few times.
And what about like thinking about the coming years? Like, what are the things on the bucket list that okay, they're not for this year, they're maybe not for next year, but what are the things that are inspiring you to drive forward and work on those weaknesses?
Yeah. I think ultimately I want to run long stuff, more like longer stuff. So obviously you mentioned like Tour de Gigantes. That's something I would love to do. I don't think I'm mature enough to run that race yet, which a lot of people will disagree with that. Ricky's. Yes, Ricki.
No, but I had my hand up as in to say I disagree, because isn't it funny? Like, it's funny. You can jump back into your answer, right? But I would have saw you sign up for the Race of the Giants, right? And my brain straight away goes, Tour qualifier. That's what she's doing. You know, I believe I know what you're thinking. Like, and I'm sure, Aaron, you probably thought the same. But it's like, I actually had this conversation where you did a UTMB race last year where you podiumed in it, right? Yeah, right. So I was thinking,
Yeah,
bang,
in Malaysia.
UTMB. She's going to do UTMB. She's straight into UTMB. Didn't do UTMB. So didn't do UTMB. And then probably like wasn't even in your head, right, at the time. It was just like, wow, podium at this race, da-da-da. I go and run 50K tomorrow, da-da-da. I'll sign up for Race of the Giants. Then you get a ticket for Tour. I assume, bang, she's going to do Tour next year. And then you casually just say, yeah, I'd like to do Tour in the next couple of years. That rather than that'd be me. I'd be like going, I have a ticket for Tour. I'm definitely doing Tour. So it shows like a massive level of like how your brain is working at the minute. Like let's say maturity, that you don't just jump in at the first opportunity you get. That you're thinking, oh, maybe I'm not ready for Tour yet, but I will be. And when I am ready, then I'll do it, and I'll do it properly. Is that how you're thinking?
Yeah, I also, yes, because I don't, I accept that there's always going to be a level of you don't feel ready. You're never going to feel ready for big races like that. It's just, if you are, then something's wrong and you're probably going to fail. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't, there has to be a level of respecting it. And if you really respect, at least this is what I think, if you really respect it, you're not going to stand at the start line and be like, I'm 100% ready for all of it. Do you mean there's got to be a bit of like a, whoa, like there's going to be things that are going to happen that I'm not ready for. But I mean, I could be wrong, but the like the other thing that I think is really easy to fall into is, especially with the develop of the way trail world works, is that because is that you're running a race for a purpose. Like, just like you're saying, when I ran that Malaysia race, the UTMB race, I ran it because it was convenient, because I was in Malaysia going diving and I thought I'd run an ultra. Do you know what I mean? And the location made sense, and I happened to podium on it, although it was a disaster of a race, but like it happened. And then, oh, there you go, there's an OCC entry. Yeah, but I don't really know. Nah, it doesn't really work. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, people would do that. They run that so they can run that. Don't care. I didn't run Land of Giants to get a Tour entry. Like, I think if I did run these races with those goals, I would be putting too much pressure on that goal. And then I'd be like, oh, damn it. If I didn't get it, I'd be like, nope, now my plan's out the window. Like, now what do I do? And it also makes me, it blurs the line of, am I running it because that's the logical next step? Or am I running it because I really want to run it? And then that messes with what I have said for ages is, why am I running a race unless it genuinely excites me? I would never want to line up at Tour and be like, I am here because I got an entry and it was convenient and it's a bucket list race that everybody needs to run. No, but I need to want to be there. And especially for a race like that, if you're going to do well, you do need to take the time to know the course, ideally be on the course. So it is one of those, like, I would like to, but I think I will know when the time is right. And it could be that the time is right in 2027. Do you know what I mean? But it could be that it's not. They're too far in the future to know.
Yeah, super, very cool way, and I love hearing that. But let's say you're with Kailas now, right? You're with Kailas now. So was there not a conversation after Race of the Giants from Kailas that they said, Kailas sponsor Tour, like, so they're like going, that's
Yeah.
it, you got your spot. You're definitely racing Tour. We sponsor you. Was there that question? Was there ever that pressure put on you? No.
No, but I think that's because it's, like I said before, they're very open to having a conversation and like what I want to do. And I've made it clear it's not what I want to do this year. So there's no pressure to do it, really.
Yeah, that's
I'm also
class.
not one of their, but I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a pro runner under Kailas, so I don't know what type of pressure is put on their pro runners. to run certain events, stuff like that. So it'll be a different type of pressure, and I don't receive that pressure. But yeah, so I obviously can't differentiate between what that would be like if I were under a different contract.
Couple of things I love there. One, I've never ever thought of Ricki as someone that would overthink things, but look at what overthinking has done to you, Ricki. Whenever you've thought about this and your brain has just gone down all of the wrong roads, so you just go back to underthinking it, because that's one of your superpowers.
I underthink for me.
All right, but you overthink for everyone else. I love it. All right, we've learned something else there. Rebecca, I love that you're staying true to what's got you to where you are. I think that's really, really smart. But you did say that the Tour de Gigantes is something that does interest you. And you're so right about it's the type of course and race that it does require so much respect and time. And it's such a difficult and iconic route. Sign up for Tontret. Do the 130. Come on, I want to see you there. I'm going to be there. And isn't that a great way of getting the experience on the route and doing the 130, which is essentially a miler of difficulty, if not it's probably the TDS of the Tour de Gigantes week.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still so far away.
Holding your cards close to your chest here.
You think I'm holding my cards close to my chest, but meanwhile I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what do I do? No, I think like I said at the beginning of this conversation, from this year I'm being a bit more calculated with the way I do things, which means saying no to a lot of things, which, because there's loads of things that I would be like, oh, that would be fun. But you have to say no to things if you're going to really put everything into certain things. And it's tricky to do that because you feel like you're missing out almost. But I'm committed to kind of giving that way of doing it a go to see what happens. So I have to be able to say no and be like, no, if this is my goal, then that has to be the clear goal. And I can't, put things between it that are going to potentially impose on it. Obviously, you never know, but yeah, it just has to be a bit more clear. So I just have to be able to say no to things.
Yeah, you've only got two legs. And you have to put them legs in the best position going forward. I look at it, there's a million races I want to do, right? But I have to say no. I can't race them all because I'll end up getting crap results in loads of races. You might get one or two good results, but I mean, overall, your season will be all over the place. Where if you can get really specific on two or three races that you're really passionate about, that's when you'll have a good day and you'll get what you want out of the season that way.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely, for sure.
Do you ever have any draw towards the UTMB series or the finale? Is that something that ever has interested you or interests you now?
I mean, obviously, you guys in this trail talk and your podcasts and lives and stuff, you'll be all over the UTMB drama, news, fun stuff.
And banter.
You'll know it in and out. There are UTMB races that I look at and I go, that looks really cool because of the race that it is, as opposed to the fact that it's a UTMB race, because obviously UTMB has acquired so many races. In terms of the actual UTMB, I don't know. I think in the past, again, it was one of those, oh, you've got to go, you've got to be there, there's nothing like it. I think if I were ever going to go, I'd probably go for the TDS to kind of do things a bit differently than what's most common. But no, I don't feel like a pull towards it right now. But you'll see this as a common theme with me. I just don't think I am there yet. I don't think I'm ready for those types of races. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean in a physical sense in terms of getting around the course. There's just a lot of other aspects to deal with when you're racing on courses that are so populated with so many incredible runners and stuff. And I don't know like if I'm there yet. And Ricky's like, what is she talking about?
Yeah, like I think you're like I will say, yeah, if UTMB is not for you, then it's not for you, right? If that's how you feel. But if you're not doing it for that reason that you just said there, where you just don't think that you're there yet or that you're ready yet, that you're so stupid. Like, I'm telling you, you're definitely there. You're definitely there. It's like Emma Stewart was at UTMB last year. You know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
like, I know Emma Stewart. I know these great women that are doing some of the unbelievable things. And I know you. I know how good you are. So don't be saying, I'm not ready. You don't know unless you have a crack at it, like, you know? So don't ever rule yourself out of a race because you don't think you're ready for it. Because you're definitely ready for it. Let it be on your own terms or your own like reasons for not wanting to do it, but don't have it on oh, I'm not ready because I don't think I'm going to do well at it, because I guarantee you you'll do really well at it. Any race you put your mind to.
This has turned into a pep talk now.
Yeah,
This is-
yeah.
Well, whatever works. I think TDS would actually be a great choice as well. Like I like that approach.
Yeah. I don't know, but I think kind of the overall answer is like, yes, like all these things, I think I do see myself doing them in some future, but not in the near future. And by near future, I don't know what I mean by near future. I don't necessarily mean not this year or the next 2 years. I might mean not the next 5 years, but that could change, that could warp. What I want and what interests me will change. So yeah, I guess it's kind of like a just see what happens, really.
As we start to wrap things up here, because it's getting close to bedtime in the UK and Ireland, I think. What do you think success looks like in 3 to 5 years? What are the boxes that you're trying to tick? And
Good question.
Yes, good question, Aaron.
good for something.
I think um like the main thing is still enjoying it. It's completely normal in running, as you guys both know, to go through peaks and troughs and times where you're just running on discipline or just because you know you have to get the work done. But overall, as long as I can still be enjoying it, I think that's the main thing. Like, would like to be able to show up in a competitive field and hold my own, put down performances that I'm proud of. But I think the core is that I need to be enjoying it. To put down a performance that I'm proud of, I have to be enjoying it, don't I? So, yeah, but I would like to be able to show up and compete, reasonably well in the next, couple of years, and just make it through a third night. I've yet to run through a third night, so I'm interested in seeing what that's like. But yeah, I'd probably say something like that.
Only one night in TDS, but we'll move on. Like, as we kind of wrap things up now, like last question from me, and then Ricki, if you've anything, like, what would you say to Rebecca who moved to Belfast and started running there? Like, what would you say to that, Rebecca?
I don't even know who that person was. I wouldn't have believed it then, but like, and again, we've seen this loads, but like, I would just kind of be like, if you let it, running has the ability to completely change your whole life, which it has. And I probably wouldn't have believed that at the time, but yeah, definitely like just, if you give running a bit of time and a bit of consistency, it will absolutely flip your world upside down.
All right. Anything from you, Ricki?
No, just that's exactly it, right? Isn't it? It's like running, like the three of us are here because we love running. And it's such a simple sport, but it brings like us together. It brings loads of people together, but it also like lets you see the world, and see it from a different angle as well. Like, it's like I go to countries and you've gone to countries, and it's not like you do the normal touristy thing. You look up at a mountain and say, oh yeah, ran up there, ran up there, ran up there, ran up there. That to me is how you're supposed to see the world, I think, and I think all three of us seek adventure. And isn't that it? I think that's what you'd say to Rebecca in the morns alongside Ricki Wynn, looking at his watch going, I have no idea where we're going, but we're going to seek adventure. And that's what you do, right?
Well, I would also tell her get some better trail shoes that cost more than 20 quid.
Now you've got Kailas FUGA on your feet. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
good.
now I'm all good.
All right, Rebecca, thanks so much for joining us on the show. It's been great to catch up, and good luck with Madeira training, and we will be following really closely.
Thank you. I feel like I've gone through therapy.
You're welcome.